Take me away from home. Show me all the places I've never known. And we'll chase the night, race all of these broken dreams in flight, and we'll fly.
Okay, welcome. I made it. Had a 45-minute Uber to get here. Uber, what am I saying? No, Uber doesn't exist here. They bought Grab, so I took Grab to get here. Same thing. Anyhow, I had to leave the hotel, and now I am here at the Bangkok International Airport, and it's crazy, but in the same way that any Southeast Asian airport is. Lots of crowds, not overwhelming. It's pretty modern, pretty nice. And currently, I'm here at the Cathay Pacific First and Business Class Lounge. So you get sent here if you are One World Emerald or Sapphire flying in any class on an onward ticket on a One World airline, or if you're flying in first or business class on Cathay. It's pretty nice. We've got a noodle and dim sum bar, which is pretty similar to the deck or the bridge, if you're familiar with those in Hong Kong. It's kind of a small set menu, but they do make it to order, so that's kind of fun. Has a bar and a small buffet and a decent amount of seating. Even though this is prime time, we've got, I think, at least 3 Cathay flights leaving at right about the same time, and also a Qantas flight, and I think Qatar might use this as well. So it's handling the foot traffic that it's got. I'm a little sad to be leaving Bangkok. You know, whenever you're sort of on the return, the downside of a mileage run, you can feel it coming to a close, and those experiences that you have are starting to sink in, and you miss them in advance. But I still do have my flight up to Hong Kong, which I'm super excited about, because this is the first time that I've flown on Cathay Pacific's business class. I really lucked out, because when I bought this ticket, this segment was in premium economy, because that's what the deal was for. But they had an equipment change, and it worked out in my favor hugely, because now this plane no longer has premium economy, and so as One World Emerald, they moved me up to business class instead of moving me down to regular economy. So get to check that out. This won't be the last time I fly them in business class, but it is the first, so I'm super excited. And when we get to Hong Kong, we'll have time for probably one lounge, maybe 1.5, depending on where our gate is. Have about 2.5 hours in Hong Kong, and with expedited security and transfers, it shouldn't take too long to get through and back to the lounges. And then another, what do we want to say, 15 hours, something like that, all the way back to LA. And that's going to be in premium economy as well. And I have a nice bulkhead seat again, which really, really is the way to go. I cannot stress enough how much in any of the major One World carriers, premium economy is actually a really nice product if nobody's in front of you. So remember that, take it to heart, book early, check your seat maps, and make sure that you're going to be comfortable with those flights. Just maybe another 20-30 minutes left here. Gonna finish up, maybe have a little snack from the buffet. I already had some noodles, and finish my champagne. Okay, it's not quite as good as at the Wing, but you know, we're dealing with things these days. A little water necessary before a long day of flying, and the pièce de résistance, you need a little caffeine, and today it's in the form of black tea and potentially the rest of this Coke that Gladys left when she just took off on her flight a few minutes ago. I liked Bangkok. I would come back again. Hopefully I'll be able to. Just when you start to settle into a place, it's time to take off again. And that is just what we do when we mileage run. And we know that going in. And I had a really interesting guy on a flight years ago tell me that because of my mileage running, I was getting a taste of a whole bunch of different places to find out what I liked, and someday I will get to have the whole meal. And he's completely right. So I tasted Thailand this time, and it was good, it was crazy. A little overwhelming, but in a good way. And someday maybe I'll have time to come back and have the rest of the meal. So listening to the announcements, it is probably time to get myself organized and head out to my flight. Guess what? This plane finally got here. It got cleaned. It got refueled. It's ready to go. We are going back up to Hong Kong in business class. It looks great so far. It's pretty much the same setup as American's 777-300. So it's fully lie flat and the angle lie flat. So we've got 4 across here in business class and a nice flat screen. All the controls over here and some headphones. I can't get them out. Sorry. We're gonna figure that out later. So that was a longer layover than expected, but we're here. They're serving some PDVs. We've got some water and some champagne, as it should be. And we've got about 3 hours up to Hong Kong. And then it looks like we're gonna make our connection and go all the way home. Yeah, looking forward to this flight. I don't have the menu yet. Not quite sure what the service is gonna be like, but it's Cathay, so by reputation, it should be awesome. So far, so good. Thanks for following along, and I'll let you know how it goes.
Up here, we're free, bound only by frozen memories, lost in time, racing all these broken dreams tonight, and we'll fly.
Hi again. We just boarded our last flight for this weekend. This is Cathay Pacific 880. It is the nonstop from Hong Kong back to LA in premium economy. Once again, I've got the bulkhead row just on the other side this time, and plenty of foot room. And I think it's not a full cabin, so I may have nobody next to me, which makes it even better. We just spent a little time at the pier and had some dan dan noodles, some champagne, and got some, let's call it juice to go, right? You know what I'm talking about.
And this flight is like 15 and a half hours. So we will survive. We will persist. We will sleep, hopefully, because that last flight, it knocked me out. I didn't make it through without taking a nap. So I'm awake now, but I will, in short order, I think, be ready to get some rest. And then we'll be home, and it'll be bittersweet and good to be home, but at the same time, I always miss it when I'm not at an airport. Yeah, so let's all travel safe, let's fly well, live well, and I'll catch you out in LA.
We're free, bound only by frozen memories, lost in time, racing all these broken dreams tonight.